childhood really sets you up for success or failure, however you deem it, whether socially or otherwise. Because I was just talking with this individual. She's volunteering in this organization. She's talking about how, a lot of these individuals that are asking for tutoring, all these kids, they always think that they're the problem. Like, whenever they can't figure something out, or whenever like a tutor gives up on them, or they feel like they're the problem and that there's something wrong with them. And that's just a sad thing to hear from, like, because they're not the problem. They're just different, and we just need to figure out how to best cater to them, because it's a disadvantage when you have a different learning style that does not suit what the status quo of like the school system is. Not to mention, like, when you're at home and like it feels like the teacher's given up on you, your parents have given up on you, and now you're reaching out to this like third-party tutor and they give up on you too. Like, what does that do to a child, that they just feel like so shy and hopeless? And like, so yeah, like, I think when in terms of tutoring, in terms of teaching, the main thing that is important for a child, especially in their early age, intermediate, yeah, sure, focus on grades, but it's to really build trust. Okay, this little kid does not trust you, does not trust that himself even, or herself even, and they're going to, like, with hope that they could fit in, like, people just want to fit in. Kids just want to fit in. And when they're not receiving that at home, and when they're not receiving that at school, they're going to turn to people that may not have the best intentions, or may not be acceptable for a younger age, okay? And so, because those are the people that are making them feel wanted, make them feel like, okay, yeah, there's nothing wrong with me. There's just something wrong with the system in the world, okay? Like, they're gonna reach out. People need community, and they're gonna find community wherever people like accept them. And sometimes gangs, or sometimes those individuals that are not really like a good example for the child, are going to accept them, and that's going to lead them to a very dark path. Yes, very dark path. So people, you need to have, especially in the early age, you need trust. You need to be able to build that relationship, because then they'll start to open up the problems, or start to be more open and say, hey, like, I'm not the problem, okay? I'm not the problem. I just have a different learning style, and that's okay. It's just so heartbreaking to see, like, a kid who thinks they're the problem and thinks that they're just hopeless, like everyone's giving up on them. They feel so unwelcome. They feel like, I'm just a lost case, like no one can help me. It's just so sad to see when it's not the truth at all. But sometimes the adults and those who have a lack of patience for these students, like they're so strict and everything, like they push these students away from actually reaching their full potential, reaching something of greatness, and support them as not as something like a quota to get done, like, okay, they need to get this grade so we can get funding for this, and yeah, no, actually retain the student and like retain like the relationship, because with all the inconsistencies in their life, what they need is consistency. And I feel as though like we're obligated as those adults to give them that, or because we know better. Come on, we know better. And like, especially now with like the attention span of like an ant, of a goldfish, these students. They need breaks. They need some compassion, because these little students, these strict quotas of like, oh, do this, is not going to help them, especially in an online environment. They're just going to feel dejected. So, but what do I know, right? But seriously, like, they need breaks. They need things that integrate what they view as like creativity, incorporate them, like, like that's what they need. And I have hope that there are adults out there that actually care about the students and not like just the mark or like the results, because it's not really a means to an end. It's about that student's overall success. It's about mentorship. It's about helping them outside of school too. Like, it's not just a job. These kids are not just a job. And well, I'm realizing that like a lot of the time it's just to fill a quota. A lot of the time it's just to fill the hour of like do your homework, do this, when it's actually, this is a child. This is so much potential, so much can happen during the early stages of development. And if you're not careful, if you're not careful in how you approach things, it's gonna last for them until adulthood, and then they need to get expensive therapy. Like a lot of individuals now do, a lot of young adults do nowadays, therapy, which is start from the beginning. Okay, start from the beginning. Help them from the beginning. Like, give them some patience. Give them ways on how to deal with stress and anxiety, and build their confidence. Then, that's what they need. I'm actually excited. Like, I worked with little kids before, like, and what I'm realizing is that you need to reward them sometimes. You need to like place a strict hand on like, okay, this needs to be done, they're not a machine. Don't expect them to complete this at this time. Don't expect them to just be like a machine and just dull out results. They're human, okay? We're not like some corporate like work environment where this project needs to get done at this time, like, especially for little kids. Give some grace, give some flexibility to these kids. That's what I'm thinking, because like, like those teachers that really messed you up when you were a kid, like, yeah, we should try not to be those, okay? And I have hope that a lot of the teachers, especially given their salary, they're doing it because they actually want to. They're doing it because they actually care about students. They care about the success of individuals. So I have hope that is the case. But yeah, it is a tough job being tutors, being teachers, being someone that really shapes an individual. So with great power comes great responsibility. Anyway, this is my rant. Yeah, I'm gonna that's it for me. That is it for me. Okay. Goodbye.